we're still in this work with what we have, stay at home, don't get out. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna do pie. Pie is comfort food, and I feel like right now people want comfort food. Comfort food is food that reminds us of better times maybe, or safe places that we were at when we were children, maybe our grandma's house or maybe our mom and dad's house, someplace that we could go and we could feel safe, we could feel at home. It's a home feeling. Actually, comfort food is I feel at home when I eat this food. This brings me happiness because I have thoughts of things that happened when I was little, you know, sitting around the table at my grandma's house and, you know, the family all there. And so pie is something that I feel like that is a true Southern comfort food. And so we're gonna work on pie crust today. And then what we're doing here, I have 4 cups of flour, all-purpose flour. And I went with 4 cups. I'm doubling this recipe. So you could actually do 2 cups if you wanted a single recipe. So I have 4 cups of flour here, and I'm going with 1.5 cups of shortening. And I chilled my shortening in the refrigerator. So you want everything to be as cold as possible. And I had to go get a spoon to get this shortening out after setting it in the refrigerator. A little bit hard to get out. You could also do butter. If you don't have shortening, that's one thing that you can interchange. I added my 1.5 cups shortening. Now what I'm gonna do, I put some corn syrup in my pie crust. I like it just a little bit sweet. So I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of corn syrup to this recipe. I do have a recipe that makes a huge batch of pie crust, but pie crust is something that you can freeze. The recipe that I have to make a big batch of pie crust is actually a whole 5 pounds of flour, 2 pounds of shortening, 1 cup of corn syrup, and 2 cups of ice cold water. So that's gonna make between 25 and 30 pie crust, and you can make those into balls, plastic wrap, and put them in the freezer. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our water. And this is, when I say ice cold water, I really mean ice cold water. I have ice cubes in my water to keep it cold. This recipe calls for between 8 and 16 tablespoons of water. And the reason that's such a big gap, if I was doing 2 cups of flour with this, it would be 4 to 8. And the reason is because flour, there's different flours, different kinds of flour. There's hard red winter wheat, there's soft red winter wheat, there's spring wheat, there's durum wheat. That's just to name just a few. And flour has each of the different kinds of flour have a different absorbency on what the amount of moisture that they can take into them. And so some flour you may be able to get away with 4 tablespoons of water, or it might be a blend that it needs 8 to get it right. So we're gonna start off, since we're doing 4 cups of flour here, we're gonna start off and we're just gonna do the 8 tablespoons of water. And if that's not enough, we can always add more. You cannot take out. I know I say that a whole lot, that you can add to, but you cannot take out. And that's the same with this. So we'll start with the 8, and then we'll go up gradually as needed, if needed. Now we're gonna combine this water and the flour and the shortening together. You can see I changed bowls. I had to change bowls because the clear one that I had wasn't big enough, so I had to dump this into a metal bowl so I could work it really well. All right, so we have our pie dough and we're fixing to roll it out. We've had it refrigerating. It's cold now, and so now we're gonna roll this out. We have put a little bit of flour, dusted our work surface with a little bit of flour just to keep this from sticking to our work surface. Take your pie pan, after you get your dough rolled out, take your pie pan and just measure to make sure that it's gonna be large enough for your pie pan. I take my dough scrape and I just go around the edges of my crust to separate it from my work surface. Then I take it and I fold it in half, and then I take and fold it in 1/4, and I place this in my pie pan, just like this, and then I spread it out. What's awesome about dough is it's so forgiving. I can piece this back together if I need to. If I've got too many tears in it, all I have to do is start pressing it and it goes back together. So don't worry if it tears. You can always work it out. You can always press it back together. It's not hurting anything for it to tear. So we'll get this pressed down and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, I want to show you my pie. It's not beautiful. I'm gonna seal these sides when I go to put my meringue on, so you won't ever be able to see the side. If I was making a fruit pie, I would actually spend some more time on my sides and I would make them beautiful. But I wanna show you a quick secret on how to make the side. If you'll take your finger, and your thumb, these three right here, and you just press in. I don't know if I can get a great picture of this or not, but just take that and you press in and you go around it. You'll make the little indentions. So you just come around pressing as you go, and you just go around all of your pie, and that will make the little sides in my pie crust. What this does is that while it's cooking, it prevents the bubbles from happening. It kind of gives a spot for the air to escape. So we'll just poke a few holes in that. We're gonna put it in a 400-degree oven and let it cook for about 20 minutes.